My family labeled me a self-centered traitor and threw wine on me at a holiday meal. All because I refused to give my $180,000 cafe to their favored son. I stood up and did something they never anticipated. Hey Reddit, original post, January 13th. I, a 34-year-old man, never imagined the business I created would turn into a war zone. My cafe wasn't just a company. It was my refuge, my comfort, my endless hours, my effort and anxiety, and sometimes the only thing that held me together. For my mom and dad to stare right at me and call me self-centered for not giving it to my younger brother. That disloyalty cut more deeply than anything I've ever felt. Let me rewind. I started my cafe 5 years ago after leaving a draining career in finance. I emptied my retirement savings, used every bit of my credit, survived on cheap noodles, and gave everything I had to making it work. I called it Hearth and Grind cozy, inviting, and real. In 2 years, it became a neighborhood fixture, and now it earns over $100,000 a year. My brother, Ryan, 29, has always been the favorite. He was the sports star, the likable one, the one my parents praised at every gathering. He left college, jumped between new companies, wasted loan after loan, and always had mom and dad there to rescue him. I, on the other hand, fought for every bit of security in my life. A week before the holidays, my mom phoned and said there would be a family meal at their home. Everyone will be there, she told me. And you should be sure to bring something nice. That was her way of saying bring a costly bottle of wine or you'll seem stingy. I sighed, but said yes. What I didn't know was that the dinner was a trap. I came with a $60 bottle of red, and the second I entered, I felt the stress. They weren't just there for the season, they were expecting a performance, and I was the star. After eating, as we all sat in the living room with our drinks pretending to be a close family, my dad spoke up. Son, we've all discussed this, and we have an idea. Ryan smiled brightly. My stomach dropped. We believe it's time for you to let Ryan manage the cafe. He needs something steady. You've succeeded with it, and it's time to let your brother share in that success. My drink stopped halfway to my mouth. Share, I repeated, holding back a laugh. You want me to give Ryan my business? It's what family does, my mom added. You'll still be part of it. But Ryan has plans. He could really elevate it. Elevate it? He can't even keep a plant alive, much less a company. I spoke carefully. I made that place from nothing. I worked all day and night. I lost touch with friends for years. I went into debt to build it into what it is. Why would I just give it away? Ryan shrugged. Relax, don't be over the top. You're doing fine. Help me out for a change. For a change, I repeated, a laugh slipping out. I've helped you a lot. Who rescued you when your cryptocurrency plan failed? Who signed for your second car loan? Who helped pay off your credit card debt just last year? My father slammed his glass down. Stop. You're being a stingy, self-important jerk. It's just a coffee shop. That's when my mom stood and flung her wine at my face. Shocked sound spread through the room. I sat there, frozen. Red wine ran down my face and shirt. The room seemed to tilt, not from the drink, but from sheer shock. You're not the only person in this family who counts, she whispered angrily. You always behave like you're superior to us. I quietly wiped my face with my napkin. My heart beat so loudly I could hear it. I looked at Ryan, who just drank his beverage, unaffected. Like this was all going exactly as he wanted. I stood. You know what? You're right, I said evenly. I do act like I'm better because for once, I am. I earned something and I won't hurt people to get it. My dad yelled something about honor. My mom called me cold. Ryan mumbled overreacting. I turned, took my jacket, and left. But that wasn't the finish. Driving home, my phone flooded with messages from relatives who saw the whole scene. Some were shocked, others quietly said sorry. A few even wrote they've always treated you that way. I feel for you. I got home and sat in the dark, going over every comment, every smirk, every splash of wine on my skin. I understood I'd spent years trying to win my family's approval, but they'd never give it because I wasn't the chosen one. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I wrote an email, one that would make sure no one in my family ever tried to take my cafe again. It was time to set a boundary, not just for Hearth and Grind, but for me. They had gone too far. And the next day, I did something they never predicted. The day after the wine-soaked attack, I sat at my desk watching the cursor flash on my screen. 100 ways to say what I wanted rushed through my mind, but I wouldn't let fury guide me. I was calm now, clear, and for the first time in a long time, I was finished being the sensible one. I opened my business files and found the ownership documents for Hearth and Grind. I checked them repeatedly, then sent copies to my lawyer. I'd known him since university, a straightforward man who helped me set up the shop years ago. I wrote I need extra legal security, total lock. No one, absolutely no one, can make choices or claims except me. Also need a rule stopping any family from trying to gain control, transfer, or claim because of pressure or guilt. He answered in an hour. Got it. I'll handle it today. Want to update the emergency contact? I paused, then typed yes. Remove all family. Add my manager, Luis. Luis had been with me since the second year. A single father, a hard worker, someone who once turned down more money because he knew I was having a tough time. If anyone deserved this shop if something happened to me, it was him, not the people who treated me like a walking bank. By midday, everything was official. That afternoon, I walked into Hearth and Grind, said hello to Luis and my team like normal, and began making banana walnut muffins. The smell of coffee and cinnamon steadied me again. This was my real home, not the place with wine and criticism and mind games. Here, I was valued. Around 3 p.m., my phone buzzed. Mom, Ryan says he's still waiting for you to come around. Dad, we didn't teach you to be this bitter. We just want the family to succeed together. Ryan, you're being a selfish jerk. I was going to bring fresh ideas. You can still make this right. I didn't answer. I was already making it right, just not how they wanted. The next week, I held a holiday party at the shop for my staff and regulars. A local band played soft jazz. The windows steamed up from the warmth. Customers brought treats and little presents. Luis's daughter ran around in a shiny red dress passing out handmade cards. It was the kind of evening that reminded me why I created this place. As I gave a short speech near the end, I looked at Luis and said, I've updated the company's emergency plan. If anything ever happens to me, Hearth and Grind is yours. Luis stared, surprised. His hands trembled slightly as he put his glass down. Are you for real? He whispered. I nodded. You've earned it 1,000 times over. He hugged me so tightly it almost knocked the air from my lungs. In that moment, I felt more like family than I had in years. But quiet doesn't last when your birth family senses money. 2 days later, I entered the shop and found Ryan sitting in the corner booth. He hadn't told me he was coming. He wore a satisfied smile and drank a latte like the place was already his. I didn't need to ask who sent him. My parents were likely guiding him from afar. What do you want? I asked, crossing my arms. He relaxed back, all fake charm and expectation. Listen, I spoke with some friends, investors. They say a place like this could easily make 3 times more with a few changes. You need someone who can expand this. Go online. Launch a merchandise line. Coffee bags, cups, social media deals. I'm that person. I looked at him, confused. You think following business influencers makes you ready to run this place? He chuckled. You're not dreaming big enough. I'm trying to help you grow. You're not trying to help me. You're trying to help yourself. As usual, Ryan's expression turned stiff. So that's it. You're really picking this little spot over family. I glanced around at the soft lights, the couple smiling by the fireplace, Luis assisting a customer with a stroller, a teen sketching quietly near the counter with headphones on. This little spot provided jobs. It gave me meaning. It gave people somewhere to belong when they had nothing else. So yes, I said. This place matters more to me than any forced idea of family. He sneered. You think you're better than us? No, I said calmly. I know I'm better than who you all turned into. Ryan stood, trying to tower over me, trying to scare me like when we were young, but I didn't move. Not this time. I hope you enjoy being a coffee server forever, he mumbled, rushing out. The door chimed behind him, and I felt a burden leave my chest. The next morning, I blocked my parents and Ryan. I told my aunt and cousins I needed distance. I didn't make announcements. I didn't explain more. I didn't try to persuade anyone. Instead, I concentrated on Hearth and Grind. We began a rewards program, teamed up with a nearby bakery, made a small reading area for children and aspiring writers. I started advising new business owners who had no family backing, people like me. And the more I invested in the shop, the more it returned. But just when I thought the trouble was finally over, Luis hurried into the back one afternoon with a paper in his hand. You have to look at this, he said, his eyes wide. It was a letter from a lawyer representing my parents and Ryan. They were formally taking me to court, claiming a family right to part of the business, talking about emotional understandings, spoken talks, and plans mentioned in a family setting. They were trying to seize Hearth and Grind by legal force. They had crossed a line there was no coming back from, and now I would show them exactly how fierce I could be when cornered. I stared at the legal page in my hand, the words swimming from anger and shock. Family-based entitlement to partial business ownership, emotional agreements. My parents and Ryan were truly trying to use some distorted, made-up version of family duty as a legal tool. They'd never put in a penny, never worked an hour, never offered support without strings. And now, because I wouldn't surrender Hearth and Grind, they wanted to sue me. I laughed a low, harsh, drained laugh. The kind that comes when you're too weary to yell. Luis watched me, worried. What will you do? I'm going to end their case, I said. Not from malice, but from fairness. They need to learn that actions, especially theirs, carry results. First, I called my lawyer. He'd already expected the move. They have no legal standing, he said assuredly. But if you want, we can sue them back for harassment and trying to force a business owner. I agreed before he finished. Then I collected everything. Every text, every voicemail, every email where they tried to shame me, push me, manipulate me into giving up the shop. I put together a timeline, recorded their money history, and even found old bank transfers showing how often I'd rescued Ryan before. I wasn't just protecting myself. I was showing a repeated pattern: entitlement, control, and harm disguised as family. I also called my accountant. He reviewed the shop's finances, tracked every ownership detail, and confirmed again only I had legal ties to Hearth and Grind. The court date was set for 3 weeks later. News spread. A few cousins contacted me, stunned it had reached this point. One and even said I told your mother this was crazy. But she and your father said you gave them no option. No option. I laughed again. They had every option. They just didn't like the one I made. In the days before the hearing, I stayed focused. Business was great. We started a rotating guest coffee series. A local poet began Saturday night readings. Luis updated the menu with seasonal treats. We were more than a cafe now. We were a community hub. And quietly, I prepared one more thing: an open letter. The morning of the hearing, I arrived in a dark blue suit, no tie, steady and collected. Ryan came in looking smug, wearing sunglasses inside like some kind of entrepreneur celebrity. My parents followed him. My mother seemed furious. My father wouldn't look at me. The judge heard their lawyer present a case that felt like a badly written drama. He mentioned unclear family promises, emotional duties, years of support and family hopes. It was all as ridiculous as it sounds. Then my lawyer stood. He presented the facts. Ownership proof, financial records, a timeline of pressure, guilt, and manipulation. Everything was solid. And then came the best part. He handed the judge a printed copy of the open letter I'd posted that morning. I called it "When Family Stops Being Family: Why I'm Taking My Parents and Brother to Court to Protect What I Built." It wasn't furious. It wasn't vengeful. It was truthful. I wrote about the price of loyalty, the cost of constant emotional pressure, the hurt of being treated like a wallet instead of a person. I talked about what it means to create something when no one has faith in you, and how difficult it is to leave harmful family patterns, but how essential it can be. The letter spread quickly online. Customers, other business owners, even strangers rallied behind me. The comments filled with people saying this is my story too. Thank you for standing up. You're not alone. The judge read the letter quietly. When he finished, he looked right at Ryan, then my parents, and said something I'll always remember: this court is not a weapon for entitled family members to claim someone else's life work. Case dismissed. Ryan jumped up, yelling about unfairness. My mother wept. My father's face turned crimson. I turned and walked out without a word. But I wasn't finished. A week later, I requested a restraining order against Ryan, not forever. Just a 1-year order to keep him away from me and my business. Approved. My lawyer then sent a formal stop contact notice to my parents to prevent any more business-related pressure. And then I made the last move. I changed the shop's name, not completely, just a slight but meaningful refresh. The sign now reads Hearth and Grind. Built by one, fueled by many. Underneath it is a small plaque with a line: sometimes the family you build is stronger than the one you're born into. That plaque was a gift from Luis and the staff. I didn't ask for it. I didn't even know they were making it. But when they gave it to me during a quiet Friday closing, I broke down and cried. For the first time in years, they were tears of calm. My parents haven't reached out since. Ryan tried to message me last month asking for a job reference. I didn't even open it. I don't need closure. I built it, one cup of coffee at a time.